I said, dude, if I could get Elevation just to buy out my podcast, what?
That's for real.
I said, forget spending $25 an hour to record, but he was wanting too much. You know what? This is what his podcast started before we go. A lot of times people want too much without doing the work. And I had to explain that to him, like, yo, you need to curate your audience. You need to work on your craft. I was telling him about me and you. I was like, dude, we first started recording. We was against a wall, a white wall. I didn't know how to edit no video. We had terrible mics. Like, and I told him, I said, dude, the mics you see in there, it's like our fourth mics.
Yeah.
Because we worked on audio. I said, a lot of y'all want to go straight to just like, oh, I need a video content. I need to be out there. And it's like, yo, you don't even know how you and your co-host like
how you think, how you gonna bounce off each other. I mean, to be truthful, like even the direction of the pod, like that, you can start in one direction, you're gonna end up completely somewhere different.
Yeah, and I laugh because I'm like, me and you are circling back to what we started off, but it just took us, like now we find out people want to talk about investing. People like politics. Yeah. You know, a couple of freaks out there, you know, they want the freaky stuff.
No, you're right. Like we're coming back around to having those conversations. So no, it's repetitions, man. It's reps. I mean, that's just what it is. It's reps.
It is. Grab your headphones. Let's get started, man.
Let's go.
Here we go. I guess I should add my stuff. Look at Mike helping me because he know my phone be acting up.
With brothers who don't know how to support a sister.
Oh, that's our boy.
Full stop. Misogyny is still real in our community. We've got to address it head on and not act like it doesn't exist. The reality is if black men had voted, Stacy Abrams would be a governor.
He kind of got a point. But
okay. Not really.
I know this is a layered onion here, Stacy, but do you agree that black men who are not voting for Harris and who didn't vote for you, as the pastor sees it, are misogynist? As he said, misogyny is still real in our community.
Come on, Stacy.
I would say, number one, I know it's a shock to everyone, but sexism remains real and a very pertinent issue. But I want us to be really clear that Kamala Harris is doing very well with black men. Black men are the second strongest cohort of Democratic voters. What we're seeing, though, is that she is showing them due respect by actually speaking to their issues. And those issues differ from other cohorts. I'm not quite certain why there is this panic about black men voting. They vote. In fact, they vote more than their counterparts in any other community for Democrats.
What other community we talk about?
We do have to acknowledge that there is sexism. There is racism. There are challenges in our electorate. And that's why it's so important that Kamala Harris is going everywhere and talking to everyone. She respects voters. She meets them as wrong.
She started messing up at the end. I will say this. Let me clear that up. So that was Pastor Jamal. Ain't that Jamal Bryant?
That's Jamal Bryant.
I like him.
From New Birth, right?
Yeah, well, Mike has some issues with
fellow
pastors.
With
One of these pastors going to fight you.
I mean,
have you ever thought who going to jump you when they see you? I have.
No, because I'm too old and I done told y'all I don't fight.
Oh, yeah. Me and Tim Ross definitely going to shoot a fair one. I already know that's going to happen.
I am not going to fight y'all, man. Like, do not run up on me. It's going to end up tragic. I'm telling you, I'm picking something up. I am not a fighter anymore.
All the black fly on the wall cast going to jump my ass.
This dude is just straight. Just pulling the guns out at the beginning of the pod.
Duke going to fight me from nice and neat or
Duke,
neat night.
Yeah, you and Duke probably are going to get it to it over that one.
We are. But it's okay. You know, Melissa Ford going to fight me. I know that for a fact. Who is calling me this early in the pod? Hang up. Dub that. Let me clean this up about Jamal Bryant.
I don't like the fact that, I mean, per usual, right? Like, we go straight into, well, if black men... if black men would have did this, Stacey Abrams would have won, man. Call out the problems that are the real problems.
Georgia is red as hell.
Yeah,
that's
like,
the problem.
It's not black men. Your problem are not black men. We are the largest voting block of men, right? Mm-hmm. More than Latinos, more than white men, more than Asian men. We are the largest voting block for Democrats.
And Indian men.
And Indian men, right? Well, they're under Asian. They would classify under Asian. So we are the biggest voting block by far.
You lucky they don't listen to this
compared to
Kamala's uncles.
Kamala.
Yo,
excuse me.
Did you watch the video? We're going to get here later. But did you watch the video? Did you get to the part of Shannon? Because I ain't watch it. Where she basically was like, yo, my mom, I don't want to say my mom hired black friends, but she brung her black friends around. I called them my aunts and uncles.
Yeah, it was we're gonna get to it. It was a dry episode. It was dry.
Most of Shannon episodes are dry.
Yeah, but true. And typically the person that he's interviewing can bring it along.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But what happens is when you're not really a journalist and you ain't really got that personality, that falls flat. Like, I love Shannon to death, but Cat Williams was a comedian and actor who got up there and said, Cat Williams was like, I come here to like set this off. I'm gonna do this for you. Because even, remember when we was watching the Cat interview, Shannon kept trying to go back to his cue cards, and it's like, bruh, put the card down. You are stop trying to block God's blessing for you.
Yeah.
But all right, let's hold on. My favorite person to hate. Now let me tell you something. You're not gonna jump me. Oh, Ebony K. Williams gonna jump us both.
No, Ebony K don't love us, man. Ebony K is one of those women that when she talks in front of a camera, she don't really like guys. But I can tell Ebony K is like one of the sisters, man. She one of the women that when she get with you, bro, she be like, man, you think, damn, Ebony K so cool. And then when you watch what she's saying later, you be like, who the heck is that? I can already tell.
Nope.
I can already tell.
Ebony K, I love you. I'm from Charlotte. Mike isn't. So
this is true. I am not. I'm from the Carolinas. I'm used to women like that in South Carolina.
Because they weird down there.
We cool. We normal. That's the problem. Everybody else is weird.
No. Turn you down?
Yeah.
Mike earpiece was turned all the way here. Whoever sat in that chair was like, Mike just let me scream all in his ear. Pause.
Y'all. Somebody was hard to hear.
I tell you, I could always tell when somebody, like some trash get recorded up in here. Here go your boy.
Kamala Harris sent us a love letter. To you, that might have been a policy document. I read that as a love letter from Kamala Harris to black men who need some love, black men who need some respect, black men who need some concern and some care and consideration. You know, we need some mamala from Kamala.
Oh, hell nah.
And we got that.
That's why I put it on there.
We stood on business. We said we wanted to hear something.
What did I tell you? The problem
else is
that
getting something. What are we going to get?
That we continually get
and
from women?
she came with a love letter of support for our work, our wealth, and our health.
I hate that heavy tongue ass nigga.
That was a little bit embarrassing. And again, right, we always complain about like, hey, we don't need moms, right? Especially the top third of black men. We don't need moms. Yeah. We need helpmeets. We need women that are going to come along and help us get to where we need to be. And when Kamala dropped that list, I had a problem with it. I damn near almost fell out with friends because I sent the list and I was just like, yo, this don't seem a little mothering to you, a little pandering. Like this.
Talking about her list for black men?
Yeah, her list for black men. I was like, yeah, and everybody was like, no, it's okay, it's fine. Like, you know,
I don't know if I got that.
You tripping. And I was just like, I mean, weed, cryptocurrency. I'm like, this is stuff off of Twitter. Like, this isn't real things that black men are talking about.
Facts.
These are things off of Twitter. I was like,
facts.
That tells me that in that room, there is not an African-American man in that room.
Well, no, he was there. It was the dude when she was saying how she cooked greens who was over there clapping. That was the nigga who was in the room.
Okay. So let me say.
I'm here for jokes today, by the way.
So let me say, there wasn't a man like myself or a representative of me.
Now, Kamala, I will say this. In July, me and Mike said, you bring the bag, we'll teach you, we'll help you along the way.
Yeah.
You didn't bring the bag.
You didn't bring the bag.
She paid Beyonce, though.
Kamala list, Kamala list for black men. Loans, education, mentorship, cryptocurrency. Hold on, I'm trying to read it. Let's see here. National Health Initiative, which I do agree with. Legalize recreational marijuana. Like, Kamala, like, yo, we don't smoke weed like that. That is a stereotype. like we don't, right? That's like, I love cigar lounges, right?
Yeah.
I would not go around and be like, yo, this is what all black men do. Like, it isn't. It's a stereotype. And then we go to the Hispanic list. Let's see here. We got 2 million workers, help start small business, similar as black men, double down on the number of Latino homeowners, something that black men actually talk about, trying to get homes. Child tax credit. I mean, to be fair, Latinos are having more babies than blacks, but we'd probably have more babies if we could have women and wives and families.
Or can we have a real conversation?
Go ahead.
You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Me and my wife had a debate. Shout out to the debate in the Bower households. Because she's Latina and I'm black and I got a problem with the Indian Jamaican sister running for president. And Kamala, this is not even about Kamala's race. What it is about is every time that Kamala gets in front of a camera and we talk, she's talking to black women about abortions. And our women, talking to our women, the largest group who get the largest amount of abortions, the smallest group of women representing the majority of abortions is nasty to me.
Yeah, it's out of bounds, right?
Well, and it goes to what you said earlier. I'm seeing the Twitter conversations jump into political rallies, and it just bothers me.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, continue.
But to your point, right? When it comes to our issues, it's the Twitter conversation, which means you don't have a representative of me in that room, right? When you're speaking to when you're telling Latinos, hey, child tax credit, right? Latinos, actually, I think their birth rates is still above 2. I think it's like, I don't have it. It's over 2 though, right?
Okay.
But for any country, your population reproduction rate has to be like 2.1 or higher. In all Western nations, it's below 2. I think the United States is like 1.9, right? Which is why immigration is never going to go away, right?
Okay.
Countries running into these problems right now. Part of the problem that Iran is running into right now when going up against Israel is the fact that they're a country of only 90 million people. They don't really have enough people to actually sustain a long-term, war, right? Mm-hmm. So in the United States, part of the problem is like, United States, while we do project a ton of power in this world, right? We're a country of 350 million people, right? Yeah. Your biggest rival, China, has over 1 billion, right?
Yeah.
The next up-and-coming country, which would be India, where Kamala people are from, half our people are from, have over 1 billion people, right? Reason why you don't have to really worry about Russia is because it's a country under 200 million people. Population matters. So one of the big reasons why you're never going to get the borders closed is because our birth rates are low. If Americans' birth rates was over 3, the border would be closed. The fact that this shit is under 2 is not going to be closed. So when I see Latinos get, child tax credit, homes, jobs, that means that there's somebody in that room that understand what's going on in their community. When you're offering me weed, crypto, and you throw in the health initiative, which is smart, but that's kind of a known thing, and mentorship, right? That tells me that there's not someone like me in that room.
Yeah. Just to go, sorry if y'all probably don't see my camera because I got a new software that only shows Mike when he talks. But I was looking up some stats. So Hispanic birth rate is the highest in the U.S. They represent 63 births per 1,000 per 1,000. So they are the highest birth rates in this country, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Which, if you think about that, it's like, damn. But yeah, you know what? Let's get down to it. So over the last couple of days, if you're listening to this episode, we will be recording on election day. Because have you voted already?
No. I always vote on election day. That's like my 10-4 hat. I don't want my vote to get lost. I don't want them to burn it out of a box. Like, no, I vote on election day. I give y'all the minimum amount of time to fuck with my vote.
Yes, absolutely. I already voted. So we probably won't record on election day. By the time you hear the next episode, the election has happened. We already know who won. Yeah. Good luck to all. No matter who wins, thoughts and prayers.
Yeah.
But we are on a tear of like playing black people faces.
What?
What? Trump said Puerto Rico, Trump's people. Trump didn't say it, but he definitely didn't clean it up when they asked him to.
No.
That Puerto Rico is a garbage, is what they said.
It was a garbage island, right? An island of garbage.
That's floating.
Yeah.
Islands
don't float, by the way.
Absolutely not. And being that I represent the Puerto Rican population on this podcast.
This is true.
My in-laws was hot.
I can only imagine.
Absolutely. And so another debate in the Bowe household, which really wasn't a debate. I don't know if I had time to even react, or not that I didn't care. I didn't have time to react with that because why? Hulk Hogan calling people the N-word, Kamala going to Club Shay, Trump doing 3 hours, 37 million views in 3 days on Joe Rogan. Like, y'all been playing in black men's faces. I was on Twitter. Mark Lamont Hill is campaigning for Kamala, which is dope and all, but he leaving out certain words to tell the truth about what the hell she's going to do. So black people it's been playing in our faces since July. So when Trump people saying that, hey, it's a garbage island, it's just like, oh, about time y'all getting it. But let's get to Club Shay.
Yeah.
Kamala went there. Only one of us watched some of it.
I made it about 20. It was dry. It was dry. And like when I saw it, I was like, okay, it's only an hour long. So I was like, I could probably get through this. And probably about maybe not even a third, probably about 25% way. I end up just turning it off. I was like, it's not interesting.
I believe that.
It was like it wasn't interesting. It wasn't anything new. And this is what I'm gonna say about Kamala. Is she has a likability problem.
Fact.
Right? Like that is her problem.
Fact.
Right? And the only support that she's getting from people that I know, right? You got to understand, I'm an African-American male that grew up in the South. So the vast majority of my friends that are, are going to be Southern African-Americans, right? They're not first-generation immigrants. They're not from the Caribbean, right? They're not, from the motherland. All my friends are going to be pretty much Southern blacks. And one of the things about Southern blacks is we don't like fake.
That has a lot to do with us growing up on the lands that somebody that once was a slave or a descendant of a slave.
Yeah.
Hey, think about that. Think about where you grew up and where your grandmother grew up at.
Dude, where we grew up at, there's actually history of my people moving from the adjacent county, right? So back in the day, they'd say you going across the river because that used to be far. Yeah. People didn't fly back then. They wasn't interstates.
Absolutely.
So getting away was like pretty much moving across the river. And we are separate from the people that we were enslaved by a river. And like even in that leaving, like part of it was two brothers. One of them was lynched and killed. The other one was sold to Mississippi, right? So, again, right, we have always understood having to interact with people that you don't like.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, because of that, right, because when you have to transact with people that you really don't like, and that's it's passed along, it's generational.
Yeah.
One of the things that you learn is, hey, you do have to be honest, right? You do have to be open and upfront with me, right? Like literally across the river in an adjacent county, there are people that that have my same name that look nothing like me, right?
Absolutely.
And for all intents and purposes, you're some sort of family.
Yeah.
Right? There's some sort of, if you both get your ancestry done, there's going to be a commonality there, right? And it's like that growing up is like, well, you know what? At the end of the day, one of the things I'm always going to demand of you is that you are going to have to be open and upfront with me, right?
Yeah.
You can't gaslight me, right? You can't say that this ain't it or this isn't why. And I think the problem that Kamala has, they literally changed the name. It really gets my nerves that I got to get it right, because if not, it becomes a different debate. But in 2020, it wasn't Kamala. We all know this. But with that being said, when Kamala comes on, she doesn't come across as authentic.
No.
This doesn't mean that I'm not going to vote for her, right? Because here's the thing, because I gave y'all my word. I said if we was appointed to in North Carolina, that I was going to cast my vote for her.
I think you said that off mic, though.
I did say it off mic. So I will say if she's within appointed to, I'm going to give her my vote, because I do lean on the side of the left, right? But that's me fully understanding that the same way when I go to this adjacent county and I go into that store and I interact with that motherfucker, I do not expect to be ripped off, right? I also do not expect us to like one another.
Absolutely. To go back, my great-grandmother, who used to watch me in her house, she passed when I was 6. And when I was young, I had to do, I think I've said this plenty of times on the podcast, I had to do our family history. Sorry, I'm going to talk faster now. I had to do our family history, and I realized that her parents that also grew up in that house were sharecroppers, and that my great-great-grandmother, her mom, which would be, follow me there, but her mom got married at 16 to a guy who used to be a slave. Like, that's just how crazy. So
that's how close it is, right? Like, it's not far from us.
I'm playing in the yard of sharecroppers.
Yeah.
So, and I say that to say, I know what black look like.
Yes.
I also know what authentic looks like. I know what, I just know what certain things, when you play in my face, I just get it. Sometimes you just have to learn to ignore it, but sometimes it gets annoying.
And especially when you put it in our face, like, look, we it's a lot of stuff that we let slide, right? To your point, right? I know what it looks like, right? I know what a black person looks like, right? Do not take who I am as a person today, right? And use it as your costume to get what you want, right?
Absolutely.
I think that's the part that a lot of African American men or Black Americans, whatever y'all calling yourselves this week, or whatever we're calling ourselves this week, I think that's the problem is that, a lot of us, it's like, like my ancestry, like who I am, where I come from. Like the reason why people was called color in this country, right? The reason why you was called color is because there was also quadroons and mulattoes, and then you had colored people. Right, quadroons was 25% Black, mulattoes was 50% Black, I believe, and then colored was going to be Black people that are mixed with Anglo ancestry. Right, that's why the word colored. Right, during the Civil Rights Movement, instead of becoming like what Brazil did or what South Africa is doing right now, is our forefathers had the foresight to say, "Hey, we're all Black."
Yeah,
everybody's going to be included into the Black. We're not going to say, "Hey, quadroons." If you're not passing, if you was passing, they let the passing slide, right? You can stay. We're not going to blow your spot up, bro. But for the quadroons, it was like, "Yo, you're Black," right? For the mulattoes, you're Black. For the coloreds, you're Black, right? So when you come in and you start playing with our Blackness, and we're offended. What you're really doing is minimizing the pain of everything that my ancestors had to go through.
Absolutely.
Right? So when you say something stupid like, "Hey, I washed the collard greens in the bathtub," right? You playing on my ancestry, right? You're cosplaying into what it means to be a Black American. With that being said, that's not a criticism, right? That's not saying I hate you. Yeah. That's saying, hey, will you stop doing what you're doing?
Yeah.
Just say, you know what? I'm as American as anybody else. Not true, but that can fly.
Yeah. And then half the stuff ain't necessary.
There you go.
Also, I've learned first of all, this is the worst marketing I've seen between two political parties of all time.
Too much money. Honestly, that's the problem.
That's why I'm not, that's when people are like, "Oh, will you donate?" No.
Yeah.
Why? Because I don't want you to take some of my money and have Beyonce to come speak for 3.5 minutes, which, shout out to Beyonce. I got to watch what I say because we got to get popping first.
Yeah.
And it's not a criticism of Beyonce. Beyonce always know how to get her bag and keep her value high.
Yes.
With doing the minimum.
Yeah. She's become super exclusive.
Absolutely. And that's the minimum.
So it's like anytime she does something, it's like even her outfit, the Kelly Rowland outfit, I was just like, yo.
What the hell is going on?
What's going on?
But I don't get it. You know what? And Kelly, you still in my top 3.
Kelly is one of the finest women I've ever seen. Like low key, like finer than Beyonce, but she didn't look finer than Beyonce on that stage.
Nah, which was funny.
In Steve Harvey's suit.
Look,
and Beyonce looking like, $1 billion. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like Kamala doing that, you making sure that we know you and Beyonce know each other. Cool.
Yes.
You're just playing in our face. You're not even coming out and correcting the places of saying, "Hey, Barack, you know what? Let's not kick Black men's back in." I was never going to watch the Shannon Sharpe interview because, like I said earlier, Shannon Sharpe is, to me, is a poor interviewer. And it ain't, let me put it like this. This is no criticism to him. The reason why I know you're a poor interviewer is because I don't believe you're writing the cue cards. And
no.
So when I see you interview Megan Good, when I see you let Fat Joe, shout out to Fat Joe, somebody who I want to interview. Yeah. I love the lies. Like he's the greatest.
I don't know if they're lies. I just think they're like.
Oh, you've never heard of Fat Joe's interviews then? Fat Joe, The Game.
You don't think he just adding to it, like just embellishing a little?
Fat Joe, The Game, and Whack 100 are the biggest lies of interviews all the time. And it's amazing. It's a beautiful thing. When The Game said Michael Jackson called him to end the beef with 50 Cent, I said, this nigga's the greatest lie too. Like
I can see Mike doing that.
Now, is Joe Rogan right or wrong on, he said Kamala hasn't denied doing the interview, but she wants him to come to her and she wants it to only be an hour. And
I'm not mad at that. And y'all know I give Kamala, jeez. I give Kamala hell. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But it's like, she is the
vice president.
Vice president. She is, an institution, right? Like the executive branch is an institution. It's like, so I mean, I'm not mad if the institution, if the United States government say, "Come to me," right? You go to the United States government.
Yeah.
Like I'm not mad at that. Like do not lower yourself or your value. And I don't care if I don't know how Joe Rogan did the Donald Trump debate. I'm assuming Donald Trump went there.
Yeah, he went to Austin.
So, but he's not the current president. He's not the current institution.
Yeah, his schedule is freer.
Yeah, he is a former, he's a former president. And this is something, let me tell y'all this, right? I'm not a Trump supporter, but anytime I'm on the mic, I respect him as the former president, right? Mm-hmm. Like we do have to respect the institutions in the United States. That's why I would never vote for him. It's because he didn't respect the institution of the United States. So it's like, at the end of the day, as someone that is a descendant, as someone that is from the blood and soil, as the bigots like to say, in this country, right? I do respect the institution because it only works if we all agree to participate, right? It falls apart the moment anybody says, I no longer want to participate, right? If one side say we're not going to vote, we're just going to fight at the polls every year, elections doesn't work. So we do have to get along. So I'm not mad at Kamala for being an institution saying, I'm not coming to you. Like that makes perfect sense to me.
It does.
Go to DC, dude.
Well, if I'm him, I'm also cool with just dubbing an interview and saying, I'm good on it.
Yeah, exactly.
He don't need her
because he's the largest podcast in the world, right?
In the world.
So he can say, I don't really need it. And it's going to be boring.
Fact.
It's going to be boring because she can't. If you could actually speak to who Kamala really is, right? Kamala grew up, around the world. She went to a HBCU. She pledged to a black university. She moved back to the other side of the country when weed wasn't really legal in California, but it was becoming legal. So I can only imagine that environment and that world. She grew up in San Francisco as technology took off, right? So the people that she knows, the people that she has been influenced by, she's a protege of Willie Brown, who's probably one of the biggest political forces, out of probably in the world, to be honest. Yeah. But one of the largest political forces, in the state of California, right? She grew up as his protege. Kamala has good stories.
Oh, absolutely.
She doesn't have to give these dry interviews. But typically when somebody comes on and they give you dry stuff, they're not really going into the deep in the meat of it, is because the stories that they have, they can't tell. So I don't really enjoy hearing Kamala talk or speak because she's not telling me what it's like to be around Willie Brown in the late 80s, early 90s. With technology, think about it. She was in San Francisco when technology was taking off. Like we talking about pre-Google. We're talking about the microchip companies, pre-Yahoo, like Yahoo's. She's there in the midst of it.
I can't wait to see how many people vote for the smartest person probably on the ballot. Cornel West is on there. I want to know how many votes he gets.
He probably will get like 1,100. I mean, I'm interested too. Cornel used to be that dude. I used to see him whenever he come to Charlotte, and then he started something about old men, and I'm probably gonna fall into this.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
You become ornery, and you become like almost like fuck everybody.
Yeah.
The only person I see that did not do that was Dr. Henry Clark, and that's probably because he was like fuck everybody from always. Yeah. So the old him was the same as the young him, but dude, we see it with Keith Olbermann. We see it with Bill Maher. These are guys that I used to love, listen to their political insight. And now, there's not Keith Olbermann, Bill Maher, and Tucker Carlson. Venn diagram intersection is becoming larger and larger.
Absolutely. I want to welcome everybody.
Oh, good Lord!
30 minutes into this podcast, I want to welcome everybody to the Black Dads Club. I am your host, Gavin, aka Coke. This is the greatest pastor in this room, in this state, in this city. Yo, shout out to him. Shout out to Pastor Mike Will.
Shout out to everybody who think I have a church.
Absolutely, because he is a pastor. Yo, shout out to y'all, man. Y'all are funny, man. I love y'all. Sometimes the greatest part of church is when you come in and they already singing, and then you be like, "Oh, we've been vibing for 15 minutes. They gonna start church." This is that moment. I want to welcome everybody. I think this is episode 159. I'm not for sure. We was off last week because Mike just decided to go out the country, out of town, or whatever he want to call it.
I was out of town. Hey, we do have some footage coming. We're gonna try. I'm gonna see if Gavin can clean up on what I did take for the footage, because we told y'all the YouTube is coming.
Yeah, it is. It is coming. I want to shout out to our sponsor, NoGrease Barbershop. I went in there. I finally got a haircut. It was bad because I went in there to go just tell Neil what's up, and Ed was in there, and Ed was like, I was leaving. Ed was like, whoa, you're not gonna get a haircut? And I was like, nah, man, I'm going out of town next week.
So you got to extort it.
And he goes, no. You can't represent a barbershop and not have a haircut every week. I'm like, yo, you got to fight me, bro. Like, it is what it is. I can't wait to see y'all on December 6th, I believe. Yep. Don't kill me on that. But shout out to Nas. Love Nas. One of my favorite rappers. Definitely. In my top 5. Let's get to it. Trump said elected, Durk is free. Free Durk to his backwards.
Did he really say that?
I don't know, but the internet being
the internet said that. Yeah, Durk is sound like Durk is where he belong.
For those who not know, Durk was arrested last week because apparently murder for hire. This is all alleged. His boy came home for 12 years. Apparently for the last few years or a few months to a year.
No, they say like 2 years. That is insane.
Yeah, been wearing a wire, or he's been, he got Durk on tape. Apparently this goes all the way back to Vaughn. This goes back to like street stuff back in Chicago. Murder for hire. It doesn't look good at all.
No, I mean, typically, look, man, if somebody had been wearing a wire on you within your inner circle for 2 years, I mean, you probably cooked.
Facts.
But with that being said, when it comes to violent crime, I'm sick of it. Like, it's a reason why they label some crime just like misdemeanors, and then they have like the violent crime, section, right? Yeah. Like, I think TD Bank just laundered. I think they laundered over $1 trillion, right? They made like $10 billion. They got fined, I think $3 billion. Is what they got fined. So they get to keep $7 billion, right?
Yeah.
And there's not an executive from TD Bank that I saw that was getting arrested,
resigning,
going to jail, resign. Now, mind you, they were laundering money for drug lords, right? We know what drug lords do, right? They're violent crime, right? But none of those individuals are going to jail, right? But when you do violent crime, that's what they send you to jail for. So when men who do violent crime get caught, whether it's murder, armed robbery, rape, abuse, when you go to jail for violent crime, that is where you belong. Because the government has clearly said crime really doesn't bother us.
Nah.
It's violent crime.
Yeah, we got to get you.
That bother us.
The sad part about Durk situations, I'm listening to the conversations of, is this a rap issue? Is this a hip hop issue? And we always seem to come back to me and you have this conversation at least a good 3 to 4 times a year.
Yeah.
About something that's just in our community, and certain things are in our community, whether it's political, certain things is in our community, if it's sports wise, music, it's just different things that it just affects the black community. And it seems that, and it's my generation, honestly, and it's this rapping about street stuff that none of us created, came the generation before us, but they have to live with it, putting it in the music, and guess what's happening? They told y'all that they about to do RICO charges on a lot of y'all.
Yeah, I mean, the Young Thug thing should have tightened a lot of people up.
It should have sealed everything off.
Like, everybody should have been like, all right, I'm done. All right, I'm done. Let me get an attorney.
But Diddy didn't.
Yeah, no, everybody kept going.
Everybody kept going. And this whole Durk thing, you niggas are no longer allowed to use your business, organizational money to profit crimes, to not profit crimes, to finance crimes.
Yeah.
Because you would get hit with a RICO.
Well, and just the crazy part about this is, and look, I saw this probably like a decade ago on the internet. Like whenever Cash App became like a thing, right? Like I would see, like, you be in a strip club and a chick be like, okay, well, Cash App me money. I'm like, sweetie, I'm not Cash Apping you something illegal.
Facts.
Right? Like, I'm not giving you a paper trail for something that's illegal. And y'all be Cash Apping for weed. Y'all be Cash Apping for prostitutes. Y'all be Cash Apping stripping. And evidently y'all also Cash Apping
for murders.
For murders, right? Guys, you're making it easy.
Facts.
For the cops to do their job.
Stop paying for pussy through Zelle. Let me tell you why. Because if you do that, it's a different type of crime.
Yeah, it's a different type of crime. Like, and again, when they want to come and get you, like, these are the places that they're coming to get you guys for. And look, if he was trying to clean his life up, I do feel sorry for him. But when the biggest thing that's going on in the hood is just the lack of masculinity, right?
Fact.
Care, grace, and mercy, right? Like, those are the things that you do not possess. You guys have a forgiveness problem, in the hood, right? Like, once you get out of the hood, that's the whole goal. Once you get out, everything that transpired prior to you getting out, that has to be done.
Yeah.
It has to be forgiven because you are out. That has to be the goal. And look, I know that we're talking to an audience that's not listening right now, right? Because this is the bottom third of men.
Facts.
But to anybody that's a cousin or adjacent to it, because I know I actually know we have a younger audience that listen. Like surprisingly, like kudos to y'all for finding the pod. But like the vast majority of our audience is what was the demo? It was like
25 to 45 is our largest.
That's our largest, but like the small part is like 18 to 30 is like way larger than our 30 plus, which is surprising.
Yeah.
So a lot of y'all might be like, hood adjacent. Bruh, the goal is to become successful and to get away from anything that could be considered violent crime. That is the goal. The goal isn't to be like, yo, let me show you how macho I am. That is not the goal. That is not masculinity.
Yeah, and I feel bad for the Durk situation because I was listening to Joe Budden. They was having these conversations. Like, is it an old generation not helping the young generation? And usually I'm on that side. But with this Durk situation and situations like this, it's just going what you just said. Yo, where's everybody dads at?
What? That's the problem. There is no dads.
Yeah, and we know what Durk father is. He's in jail.
Yeah.
Doing 30 years of life or whatever it is. We know that I'm imagining that, Von's parents were not there, his dad at least. I can imagine Quando Rondo, which is the reason why all of this is going on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can imagine, even though he's for the last year been very on the internet like, yo, I forgive. I can imagine where his father is. But I'll be saying I forgive too if I'm at LA, my boys is at LA at a gas station and somebody just decides to open fire at them. Yo, y'all doing crimes in the stupider places ever, by the way.
Yeah.
My generation and the newer generations, crime is not a skill of y'all's.
No, it really, especially when y'all put it in a rap song.
Thank you. Crime is not a skill of ours or below.
Yeah.
You guys are going to shopping centers, killing innocent people. You don't go to gun ranges and practice on your shooting. Y'all putting switches on anything.
Yeah.
You're putting on the internet all the criminal activity that's nonviolent. You putting it all on the internet. I was sitting beside a girl. Shout out to Chris. I saw her yesterday, right? And somebody's hacking her dad's account and letting her know, hey, we're hacking your stuff. It's like, yo, what kind of criminals are y'all nowadays? You know what I'm saying?
Everybody want clout, bro. Everybody wants to be TikTok famous, and you will be.
You will be.
You will be.
They saying the IRS is now hiring like people to go after social media people because y'all are putting on the internet. I know a dude right now who just moved, and me and a group, we are waiting for his downfall. Sorry, it does sound like a loser way of spending life, but to watch the spin out, to crash out is great. But like, he's giving all the ways you can evade paying taxes. And I'm like, this nigga is going to jail one day. And I can't wait. And he's talking about, yo, you could throw a mansion party for your birthday and you could pay everything off by simply just having meetings before you have your birthday. And I'm like, nigga,
it's a reason why accountants are not on TikTok.
Facts. I can't wait for you niggas to go to jail.
They are busy. They would do exactly what everybody else is talking about, but they're doing it in real life. And that's the thing. It's like, yo, when you want to be TikTok famous and you want to be, it's one of the reasons why I guess the pod is like, it's slowly growing. So we're trying to figure out how to grow it. Is you could go viral and be famous that way, or you could actually have a base and be famous that way. And a lot of these guys, they want that fame. And look, I get it. The fame is intoxicating, right? Like when people recognize you and someone says like, oh, is that you? And you start to get clout off that. You start getting women off that. You never had women. You never had clout. You never had money. I get it. It's intoxicating. But the truth of the matter is, it's like, bruh, this new generation, like I think I heard one of the songs from OTF Jam.
Okay.
With Durk in it. And like he was like, such and such, if he see you, he gonna shoot you. And such, he gonna hire to shoot. And it's like, bruh, at what point did you not know he was wearing a wire?
Well, you know what? That's fair.
Like at what point, like somebody had played the clip, I was like, yo, like I would have gotten that mug so far away from me.
Yeah.
After that song, like I wouldn't even put the song out. I would listen to it and be like, bruh, you can't say that. Like, Before we go live so high, I'll tell Gab, all right, we can't say that.
Yeah.
We can't mention that person right there.
Because
right?
I would say it.
And it's like, yo, the reason why is because like, yo, you're telling the story and that person should be allowed to tell their story, right?
Yeah. 50 Cent was on the Breakfast Club yesterday and he talked about when Durk came down to do Power.
Yeah.
He said, I looked at Durk and said, you need to watch out for them dudes. Like,
damn.
His team. And they was like, and he said Durk looked at him and was like, you know what? Nobody knows where I live at. But the simple fact that somebody tried to break into my house, only my boys knew where I lived at. And he was like, so he been looking at him.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to hear 50 Cent. And I know, we too far in the podcast, but you wanted to play the Chief Keef part.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in high school and Chief Keef got popping and 50 Cent got on TV and he was doing an interview. He said, I hope somebody at Interscope get Chief Keef out of Chicago if they want him to live. And it just goes to that mindset. First of all, 50 Cent be storytelling. His storytelling, his foresight is just amazing just because that is a real thing. I was talking about how I was listening to the conversation of old versus new, and it got me thinking about, we're talking about the lack of fathers in the neighborhood, and it goes to Flip's. Shout out to Queen's Flip, who's on Joe Budden podcast. I know you from Battle Rap, but it's all good. There's a story about him, Queen Flip, and let me just read this tweet. I hate that some dads don't let their boys be boys, especially black boys. The story Queen's Flip told about making his son stay at school when he got jumped sounded so immature and borderline toxic to me. This could have been a fatal decision that he imposed his son over his pride and ego. I've said this plenty of times on the podcast, and I want to double down in saying this. While father time and time is undefeated, so is pride and ego. And I remember that conversation. It wasn't on the Durk situation. It was a long time ago, and they were and he said, he let his Queen's Flip son was getting in fights and situation, and he was like, I don't believe in, allowing your kid to run from situations. So he kept his son in school, and his son still had to fight and go through all that. And when I was listening to it, it was a sad thing to hear because I was like, I am with this tweet. Your son could have died. Your son could have got so fed up, he brung a gun to school, somebody that.
Yeah.
Part of me though, don't fault Queen's Flip because I have come to learn that entertainers will entertain.
Yeah.
And I don't know when Queen Flip is entertaining. So I always take what he says for a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But I also understood what Queen's Flip was saying that, we do look at our kids now and say, you know what? You're going through a little bit of adversity. How can I pay to fix this? How do I fix this? How do I remove you?
How do I take you from it?
And this is
instantly?
why these pussy ass kids ain't problem solvers now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why when I heard the story, I'm like, when I read the tweet, I was like, you know what? A mom should feel that way. That's a mom's job. Mm-hmm. Mom's job is to feel that way because as a father, I might be going too far, right? Because I don't know if I would run my son out of a situation. Now, all parents know their kid. Mm-hmm. The way that my son is now, if he's getting picked on, for one, tell my kid, always stand for yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Fight back, right? But let's say if he's getting into fights every week, right? Yeah. You know what? And if he's not causing them, all right, there's something wrong with that school. Yeah. Let's get you out of that school, right? Now, let's go, and I find out my son is actually being a bully, right? Yeah. He's picking on kids, right? He's messing with, with other guys' girlfriends in high school, right? I might not be as quick to be like, let me take you out of that situation, right? Yeah. I might say, hey, keep your head on the swivel, kid. Because, you know what I'm saying? Because that's real life. Yeah. Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like right now, it probably won't cost you your life to make these mistakes. Yeah. At 26, it could cost you your life if you're making these same mistakes. So right now, I got to let you sit in it. So I get what the mom is saying, but sometimes as a father, like your job is to kind of be like, all right, my son being a bully, he need to understand that he shouldn't be a bully no more. Or my son need boxing classes, right? Because he needs to, you know what I'm saying? He needs to be able to defend himself because he can't fight, right? He didn't have any cousins growing up, any siblings. Yeah. So he can't fight. So as a father, it is your job to kind of assess which is which, right? Yeah. So I understood, Flip, like, here, I don't ever want my son to be macho, but I always want my son to be masculine.
Absolutely. One of my favorite part of the show, which will be a reoccurring segment, is Ask a Black Dad. Please go to our website at blackdads.com where you can buy merch because Mike wants y'all to buy up all the merch.
Yes,
go buy merch for a dad for Christmas.
Yeah, we got to spruce that up.
Absolutely. But if you scroll down on the page, there's a segment for Ask a Black Dad. We will read it off. Unlike Crucial Conflict of last week, if I have said it, it's in the fine print on there. If you put a name, we will read your name. If you put nothing, we will not read your name. Or if you say, do not read my name, I will not do that. So if you put your name there, I got to read it. Now, this week, it comes from Will. Will did not put a last name nor a social media handle. So I don't even know if Will really exists. But the question is, will the rise of shows like Love is Blind and Pop the Balloon, can women now be included in simp culture?
No, absolutely not.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, because women don't pay for nothing.
Oh.
They don't pay for like part of simp culture is leading with your wallet. Like that is part of simp culture. And we have to go live because like I was explaining about it. Like part of why dudes are simps is they hate rejection, right? Mm-hmm. And it's hard to reject $1,000, right?
Yeah.
Like like you talk to any woman, right? And if you be like, hey, I'm gonna give you $1,000, right? You're gonna catch her attention for just a moment, right?
Yeah.
So that's why, like, part of simps leading with their wallet is they are afraid of rejection. So, are women afraid of rejection? Absolutely, right? Mm-hmm. But have women start leading with their wallets? They haven't. Now, some women lead with something else. I'll let y'all argue if that's the equivalent. But are women simps in the sense that we call men simps? Absolutely not. When women start paying for stuff like in mass, right? When women start being like, "Hey, you want those AirPod Max?" Right? When they come into your inbox, start saying stuff like that. Yes, women are simping, and you know what? I would defend simping the way they defend it.
Absolutely.
When that happens,
when we get to be the beneficiaries.
Yeah.
The Grammys is coming up. We got a couple more months, about 2 months. Please stop submitting anything to the rap category. Kendrick Lamar, I am here to tell y'all, Kendrick Lamar is cleaning that slate up. That is done. That is over. Song of the year, for the rap song of the year, is going to be Kendrick Lamar, Not Like Us.
Yeah.
I don't know what else is there. Nobody watches the Grammys anymore.
Nobody watches it. His boy is his album is going crazy.
Who?
The other kid out of California.
Who, Tyler, the Creator?
Tyler, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really listen to Tyler.
I don't either. I've never listened to Tyler, the Creator, but evidently he has a strong group of fans.
That whole crew.
Yeah.
And I remember when they were coming up, they have like a cult.
Yeah.
And the problem with cults is they show us the docs, but they don't never show us the benefits of like cults. Tyler, the Creator, Frank Ocean, Earl, all of them they all grew up together. They are part of the same group, and those people love them.
Yeah.
Frank Ocean, we just waiting for any music at this point. Who's
I mean, even the song I heard from Tyler, the Creator, this is not me hating. It's evidently just not meant for me. It was terrible.
Nah, it was. I played one song off the album. I was like, cool. I don't need to hear another song.
But I think they say he's charted like in 4 days 200,000.
Yeah.
In comparison, right? I think Meg has charted like 10,000 in the same. And then we're not gonna bang on Meg. I'm just saying, in comparison. Like
another person on my list of non-likable people.
She isn't likable. She's pretty, but she's not.
She
likable.
is my type.
That's the crazy part, right? Like
I didn't marry my type for a reason. Not likable. Like, I mean, what the fuck? Yeah, but Tyler, like, he has that a lot. And I've heard Tyler songs that I like. Shout out to Tyler too.
Yeah.
On top of another list of non-likable. I have a list of non-likable people.
Now Tyler, the colored, is likable.
Yeah, that's Mike's type. Them skinny ass chicks. Whatever, Tommy Richmond, I'm actually not mad at this. Tommy Richmond has submitted his music to the rap thing.
The funny part is he submitted it after saying, I don't make hip hop music.
So which made me think if that was him fighting back with his label. Like, yo, I'm coming out right now. I'm going to make sure I don't win this. I ain't no rapper, blah, blah, blah. And because you don't get to pick. Your label is going to pick we can win in this category.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? The song was a summertime song.
Yeah.
But it was very repetitive.
Yeah.
And it was like, and sometimes like when I hear a hit and it's like not really layered. It's just a hit, right? Music, bops, the timing is right. Mm-hmm. But it's not a layered song. I almost know you're a one-hit wonder. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like I almost know, like, okay. and I'm not calling Tommy Richmond a one-hit wonder already, but that song didn't really have any layers to it. It was just a bop. Yeah. And when he comes out and he's like, yo, I don't make hip-hop music. It's like, so it goes back to what we started this podcast with, right? Mm-hmm. Stop using my shit to get you popping.
So, which is why I think he said that, because he doesn't want to be Post Malone. I took it as that when it first, because let me put it like this. So if you don't know, Tommy Richmond came out randomly. Yeah. Random as hell, and said, I am not a hip hop artist.
Yeah.
People kicked his back in because that song was a pop song that was everywhere.
Yes.
And it was number one until Not Like Us came out.
And I think he wanted it to be a pop song. I think he wanted the Calvin, what's the DJ name? Calvin Harris?
Yeah.
I think he wanted
that lane. And I think so when it came out, I was very much like, okay, I just took it as, oh, you don't want to be known as Post Malone.
Yeah.
Like whatever. And then when it came out, it got submitted. A lot of people kicked this back and was like, so why are you doing this? And for me, I looked at it as like, this might have been bro way of saying F you to the label. Hey, your label's coming to you a month and say, yo, when the Grammys come out, we nominating this because we can't beat Sabrina Carpenter in nothing.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift put out an album. You're not winning shit in pop.
Not winning anything over there.
We may be able to squeeze out something because he did put out an album that nobody talked about. I don't know what his album.
Because what's the other Euro American rapper? The one that went popular. No, not him.
I did that just
sure. Oh yeah, you saw it when it posted at the top. It was like Eminem supported Kamala. That should slow down some of these comments.
Yeah, look.
I would have pinned that. Like
that is hilarious, actually.
That is actually because y'all just kicked our back in for the last 4 months.
They still been kicking. They still debating if I'm black. Which I love.
What is what is the rapper name? What's the one with the fly jet? Like
from back in the day, or
no, the one that made the song that everybody was playing, like, you know.
You talking about who beat out Kendrick?
I think so. Yeah.
What was Macklemore? You talking about him?
No. Oh my God.
You ain't talking about Ian right now.
Man.
I don't know who you talking about.
I don't know it. I'm messing up.
Yeah. Mike don't listen to music.
I don't listen to that.
Yeah, this album, it doesn't even say what it's under. I'm trying to look at what Tommy's album is under. Somebody let us know. This is why we need a
producer.
Yeah. This ain't it. But he said a producer. I'm trying to look at. I don't know what Tommy Richmond is under. But he's under the pop and alternative hip hop.
He's always gonna be up under pop. But this is the thing: they always use you to get it popping, and then once it's popping, then they be like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna move you over to this genre." I can't tell you how many times I heard an R&B song, and then I go click on that shit, and I go click on the artist, and it be like pop.
Yeah, but he always says that. Under his thing says everything is punk. I think a lot of these people have like alternative music, but yeah, I do look at it as
Apple Music has them on the R&B soul.
Interesting.
And again, that becomes the problem, right? Because these guys be like, they want the sound, but they don't really want to be under alternative. They don't really want to be under pop. And it's like, you can. I hate because this is the thing. Like I love good music. Like I listen to a lot of different music. Like to Gavin's point, I don't really listen to a lot of this new rap. I don't. I still listen to Jeezy. All right, that's still who I listen to. You know, and Gucci Man. So Outkast. They're not killers. They're hustlers. Right. so that's who I listen to. So when the new music comes out, like I am in more of that Alina Baraz, Gally Matus lane. Like I like that type of music because they still make layered songs. That's why when I hear $1 Million Baby, I'm like, yo, that song is not layered at all. Like it's a bop. It was like they went in the studio, somebody had laid the track, it was already done. Tony Richmond came in over the top, and then at the end of it, they were like, damn, that's hot. That's hard. Yeah. I can tell how they made that song. So when you do that, and then you like, all right, well, we need it popping, right? Well, drop it under alternative, then see how it's gonna go. Drop it under house, see how it's gonna go. It's not gonna go.
Yeah, well.
So where they drop it at? They drop it under hip hop.
Well, they didn't though. That is the problem. They did not. They made this up. This was on pop radio only. Black people heard it, liked it,
yeah.
And so
That's
now
fair.
you get to put it on the hip hop stage because people in the hip hop community requesting it.
Yeah.
I looked at him saying, "Yo, wait a second. I've never said I was a rapper. I don't want to be known as a rapper. Do not call me a rapper." And then your label says, "Nope, we gonna make it because now we know we can win." This is a labels thing. I just found it interesting. Mike is here to double down on child support.
Yeah. Y'all, look, this is the thing. Everybody, I think people like to conflate issues, right? I am not anti-child support. I'm not anti-men taking care of their kids. What I am is making sure that people understand that once someone decides that they no longer want to be with you, it is healthy for you to forget that person. Completely forget. If you sit there and you're just like, you're waiting on like, what's the old saying? As long as somebody owe you money, you never broke. If you gonna sit here with that mindset,
y'all lied.
If you gonna sit with that mindset of like, oh, they owe me $110,000 in child support, I'm waiting on it, bro. You gonna be 25, 35. Let me tell you guys something about like divorce and raising kids and split home. Because a lot of times you're mad, and when you leave, you're like, Never gonna talk to this motherfucker again, right? And if you're active parents, that is so untrue. From the time I have been divorced and me and my ex started back talking, which it was about a year, because like for a year we was in a strong fight, maybe like a year and a half. But we have talked to each other literally every week since then, right? Like there has not been a week where I do not hear from her or she does not hear from me because we have a child together. So if you stay in this continuous loop of I'm going to always be in this contentious fight, your cortisone levels are going to be through the roof as a man. Yeah. Because you're going to be in a fight. That fight will never stop, bro. It would never. The only way a fight stops is if the man stops the fight. So if a man is not paying child, go back down to the whole child support thing. Once a dude has been missing for 7-8 years, man, just get it out your mind, right? Because if they go to jail, it's just going to pull you right back into it, right?
Well, I think a lot of people had an issue. 2 things you said.
Yeah.
You said if women make a mistake, they got to stew in it. They didn't like that.
They didn't like that,
and I think that was harsh.
Okay. Is it all right? If you make a mistake, if someone doesn't come and free you from that mistake immediately, right? How long are you going to sit there and say, man, I hate this mistake that I made, right? How long? Like, sit in it and then get yourself out of it. That's all. Well,
you said they had to stew in it.
I said I did say they had to stew in it. I'm not saying
walk it back, Mike.
I'm not walking it back. I'm not saying that you need to be punished. What I am saying is that no one is coming to save you. If the dude who shot up the club and nutted in you when you were ovulating, if that dude does not come to save you, there is nobody else, right? Like no one is going to save you and this little child, right? It's on you at that point, and you gotta push that dude out. And here's the thing: I'm not saying that like, yo, that's a good dude, and I want him to be successful. And because here's the thing: if he doesn't take care of his child responsibilities, it's a good chance that he's not taking care of anything else. It's a good chance that in his life, so you don't have to punish him. He has to live with himself, right? Whatever that is, he's gonna deal. That's how he's gonna interact in every part of his life. And the longer you sit there and stew on it, right? Or you the more you're gonna realize you had a baby with a loser.
Yeah, and a lot of people change after the baby, and I'm talking about men and women. Some of us do wake up and go, "Damn, she's a loser. He's a loser." You do now. The other problem they had is you said no consequences. I think it's tough. You got to move that's a tough place to be.
Because when we all sat around, it was just like, okay, well, what punishment can you give? No one has an answer.
Oh, right? I had my answer.
No one has it. Like, look, and one dude was like, okay, you should put him on the registry that you can pull. I mean, I guess. I mean, I think
we should put liens against people who owe, because that's a government order. You are breaking the law at that point.
But it's civil.
It don't matter. You're
it's
still
civil.
Breaking the law.
Yeah, like it's civil, and you can't legislate morality. You can't. You can't.
Well, here's the thing. It's civil. Absolutely. Yeah. But like I said in that conversation, you shouldn't be able to go, you can't get a settlement. You can't come into a boatload of money later in life.
They won't. Like nobody luck works like that.
Well, I can't say that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean,
because no offense, and this is graphic, and I'm not trying to be that person.
Yeah.
Tracy Morgan was a broke ass comedian one day, and then a Walmart truck hit his ass. And $100 million showed up in his bank the next week. Let's say Tracy Morgan had a $100,000. You got to pay that. And I don't know if I'm just saying that. Yeah, that's why I was saying like, yo, now I do think everything is weaponized. And I do I do believe that there's this tweet floating around. I don't know if I can find it. About mandatory DNAs being done.
Yeah, I mean, that should be done at the hospital like immediately.
So why don't they do that?
I mean, because women fuck around. That's why they don't do it. Like, I mean, just being honest. That's why they don't do it. That's why it's illegal in France. Like, France has, like, you can't get DNA done in France. Like, matter of fact, I think you would go to jail if you do your DNA in France, like, for your child. I think Mexico is the same way. Like, my grandma used to say something when I was young. And first off, why is my grandma saying this around a 4 or 5 year old? I have no clue. But she used to say it so much that I remember. My grandma used to say, mama's baby, daddy's maybe. And I never knew what that meant.
So
right?
One of the 4, man. One of y'all might not be. I'm gonna do the math.
My grandma used to be on the phone and like that. I mean, it was something she always said, and I never knew what it meant until like my 20s. And I was just like, Grandma.
You know what? My grandma used to always say, and I was 6.
Yeah.
She would always say, be careful who you lay with because you don't know what you're gonna get up with. And I used to be like, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I told my dad that, he laughed and my mom was pissed because my mom grew up in a very conservative household. So my dad used to laugh and he was like, he gonna learn one day.
Yeah. Like,
and I was just like, and now that when I got older, I was like, yo, why my grandma used to,
yeah,
you
mama's
you can't
baby,
say that around kids.
Daddy's maybe. And so I look, make it mandatory, right? But I think you run into a whole nother slew of issues. But I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't see anything wrong with when the child is born. Hey, get the parents' DNA, match your kid. Because for one, I think it fixes problems down the road that you might run into. So men don't have to carry that emotional labor. So
yeah. One of our favorite people in the world. Here we go, man. Hold on, let me.
In my 20s still, you know what I mean, to the biggest star in the world. My trajectory was here, and then hers, she's already in a different stratosphere. I would lay up at night thinking like, is this who I am? Am I Mariah's man?
Yeah.
Is that what my life is supposed to be? There's nothing wrong with it, but I'm like, this ain't,
you had to be a
ain't the
different
hustler.
version of yourself.
And then when you have children, your man shit is like, wait, I'm carrying a purse, the diaper bag, you know. I'm standing on the corner. I'm like, wait, you know, like she rocking being all the alpha that she
by the way,
is.
she deserves it. By the way,
I believe she needs a dude like that.
Yeah.
I'm just not that dude. Her and I never had problems.
Yeah.
Never argued. Never even with me struggling in this space.
Yeah.
She's so understanding and so evolved and lives in her own world. That's the thing. When someone has their own world and you got to be a participant in that, you know what I mean? Like I'm main character. It was like muscle atrophy. I'm not being the dude that God put me on this earth to be. The love kept me there.
Him saying that,
Made it work so well because I was like, oh, you need somebody. You need a support system. You need somebody that don't want you for your money. You need somebody that's sincere. You need somebody that's willing to build a family and raise some, amazing kids together. And that was my goal. But then there was just something constantly in me like, I got it.
The man.
Maturity. I hated that last part right there where he was like, the man.
Pride and ego is undefeated.
Yeah, like that last part when it was like, oh, it's the man. Like that's not the man, right? And we've said on this pod many times, right? Like when dudes go out here and make multiple fertility partners, that typically they're not good men, right? And let's just go the bottom third men. And Nick Cannon, who's speaking on this clip, I don't know what podcast that is. He's one of those men. And I get sick of, we look at men because they're wealthy and we're like, or, as y'all like to say, they get bitches, right? And then we say like, oh, that's what a man is, right? Like that is the most childish conversation I've ever heard, right? Like, dude, there's nothing wrong. Like if your wife is Mariah Carey, right? If your wife is, really bossing it out, right? You're not less masculine by taking care of her and catering to her, right? Carry the diaper bag, bro. Carry the purse, man. Like, who are you? It's Mariah Carey.
Yeah, and you know what's wild is
you don't have to compete with her.
I got to give Nick Cannon some credit because he is talking about, yo, this is how I was in my 20s. He's older. I do wonder if and I wish, I would love to talk to him and say, like, is this how you feel now at 40? Like, are you, I think he's recognizing he made a mistake, but I wonder if he,
But in that between...
Because you 20 dating a 40-year-old. Let's be honest. There's a 20-year gap between Nick Cannon and Mariah.
Well, I think it's like a 10. So he was in his 20s.
No.
She was in her late 30s.
She was in her 40s.
She was in her 40s?
Yes, when they got married. Now, so it's close to 20 years that's between
I don't think it's that far. But whatever it is, he wasn't a child.
He was a grown adult.
Yeah.
You're in your 20s dating an icon. That's tough for anybody.
Well, that is tough, right? And it's like, but here's the thing, right? I would have more respect for his answer is when he divorced her, those were all the kids he had. Or if he had remarried and had children with that woman and would say, okay, now I'm a better man. Dude has created, 5 other broken homes?
No. My man got he got 10 baby moms, don't he?
I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to lowball it because I mean, I don't want to but I know there's at least 5 other women outside of Mariah Carey.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, he has you can't lowball he got 8 baby moms.
Yeah.
Future got the same amount.
Yeah. So it's like when I look at okay, you nailed it, right? But you couldn't handle the spotlight, right? That's a crash out, my brother.
Yeah.
You get divorced and you go out here and make 5 to 8 other broken homes. My man, that's a crash out.
Yeah.
And that's not being a man. That's not saying yo. when I stand beside a woman that is in her whole feminine glory, right? Because I don't think we'd ever look at Mariah Carey and say she's masculine.
No,
right?
no.
I think we'd look at her like, be like, yo, she's top femininity in the world, right?
Yeah.
Like talent, looks, how she take care of a kid, like the way that she never went in on Tony Montola or Nick Cannon. Like this is a woman that is basking in her femininity.
Absolutely.
And you can't stand next to that like, yo, that's lack of a man. That's your lack of a man.
Yeah, but he was in his 20s. And I keep going there not because y'all should be doing this. I think to our first or second large demographic, this is what Mike is getting to is you have to be able to recognize that I can't lose like he did in his 20s.
Yes.
Right? And I'm just giving Nick grace because you are in your 20s dating a diva, an icon, Hall of Fame. She is her. And that's tough. And it did propel him to be the man that he did become after that. And let's keep it real. Nick Cannon went from the failed rapper, a D-list celebrity actor, to one of the richest men. Like, Nick Cannon make money.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of the biggest people in Hollywood right now.
Yeah. And also, I always go back to the time I saw him and Mariah at my job playing with their kids. That should look happy. And they were not together at that time. But I remember seeing them two together, and I watched them interact with their kids. And I told everybody there, Mariah Carey is very pretty in person. More surprisingly beautiful than you think.
Yeah.
And I was I don't know how Nick Cannon is a sniper, by the way.
He's definitely good at it, but like part of it is the discipline too.
Yeah.
And it's he does have a lack of discipline.
Yeah. Well, we know that from all the broken homes you created.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did, when I watched them and their kids interact, I was like, this is interesting, right?
Yeah.
And you turn around and do that. I just feel bad for Nick because you sound like you got to clean up that. And maybe he did, because he did go through this part of his life where he was like, yo, I'm trying to educate Black people in our community on how to be better and all this. And everybody that's around Nick always speaks to his level of giving and understanding and trying to elevate people, right? But yeah, you're right. Like, Nick, you got to be better. But also, you talking about you 20 years ago, you probably recognize that, yo, I effed up. So it is what it is. Let's talk some sports, man. Shout out to the Dodgers cleaning up the Yankees. I think we only got one more game to go.
Yeah.
I don't know who I don't really watch baseball. Shout out to getting those guys. I don't know if you saw the game last night. Dude going out for a foul ball, catches the ball, and two Yankee fans grab his wrist, rip the ball out, and throw it back in bounds. They escorted them dudes out.
They should.
Ban them.
Yeah, they got to get banned.
You don't get to put your hand on any professional athlete.
No.
Because when a superhuman comes up and punch you in the face,
then you're going to be wanting a bunch of fucking money.
Absolutely. Get them,
get
what
them
they
up
call
outta
Black people when they be acting up? Get them thugs out of here. Get them the hell up out of here, man. Another person who's on the top of my list of people who I just don't know if I can like, Angel Reese. Now, this is going to be tough because I always tell Mike about creepy ass old men.
You do.
And Shaq is up there for me. He's on that list.
Shaq put himself on the list. I always say when I look at Shaq, I always say that's the individual. Like I Dana White. Y'all know me. I would Dana White
Facts.
Everything, right? So I'd be like, yo, that's that motherfucker. Shaq, that was
he went on. So we got to explain. Taylor said we got to start explaining ourselves.
Okay.
Shout out to you, Taylor. I just emailed you. Angel Reese went. Her and Shaq did a pod. Now
he went on her pod.
Yeah. Now, I've told Angel Reese to get off the internet. I think Joe Budden told Angel Reese to hang up this podcast idea. And she didn't either. She didn't listen to either. So stuff like this is going to happen.
Yep.
Shaq came on there. Angel Reese has always called Shaq like a father-like figure, uncle, blah, blah, blah. What? Okay, cool. Oh, yeah. Me and Mike got to speed this up. We got to go get our kid from school. And so I say this to say Shaq was being creepy about her outfit because of...
Well, she went on the internet like a few days prior. She had on the booty short.
From Wildin' Out. She went on
Wildin' Out. Then she posted, a bunch of photographs from that. And that went viral. Mm-hmm. And I guess Shaq, he liked it. Yeah. But here's the thing, right? You can't say, I can't call a young lady my little sister or treat her like,
Facts.
I'm big uncle or her dad.
Yeah.
Walk her out to senior night. All this other stuff, right?
And then be thirsty.
Right? Like that. That's weird. That is weird. And here's the thing. I've always told y'all Shaq is a simp. Y'all argued me down about this. This is always what simps do.
Yeah.
This is always like simps lead with their wallets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell y'all, simps are not broke. Simps have a lot of money.
Shaq got a lot.
Yeah. And when you see a man that cannot keep a woman and he's always simping over women, eventually he's going to move into that creepy territory because once he see that you're not throwing it at him for the money, now he got to be like, well, I know the money normally works.
Yeah.
I know, and
what else I got?
Yeah, what else I got? And like,
Creep man.
it was for someone that you say that you like really, really care about and respect as a woman, to say like, hey, you put them little booty shorts on and you dunk on somebody, you're gonna get views. Lowering the rim, I don't think they need to lower it to 9 feet, but like if they lowered it from 10 feet to like, I don't know, 9 feet, 10 inches, I think it would give a more interesting game, but worldwide that's not going to happen, right? Because women basketball is played all around the planet.
Mike said 2 inches going to do it for y'all.
No, I mean, because I do a lot, because a lot of time it is, well, pause.
Oh, yeah.
One. but I mean, sometimes the layups and stuff like, I do think if you lowered it a little bit, it would make the game, the transition to be a little bit better, but that's not going to happen.
No, the WNBA is a trash product. Sorry, nobody don't want to tell y'all that. I think the finals, the last 5 minutes of that game showed us that it was a trash ass product. They showed the 2 minutes. Some dude highlighted 2 minutes of the game. He didn't clip nothing.
Yeah,
it was passes out of bounds, blown layups, air balls, and it was just like, this is trash. Unless y'all can get, how many WNBA teams is it? 18, maybe 20. Unless y'all can get 19 other Caitlin Clarks.
Yeah,
you got to figure something out.
Well, and again, I think they'll get there. I think part of the problem with the WNBA is it's a popularity problem, right? Like the reason why the NFL works is because it's regional based. People have been invested for 50 years. Their granddads was invested. Their dads was invested. They're invested. So even if a team is terrible, right? Like my brother's a Panther fan because he was born when this team, was coming to be, right?
Yeah.
The team sucks, right? Yeah. He is still a fan, right? He like, so it's like
your brother owe me money too.
Nobody's invested in the WNBA
Not
like that. So
it's gonna take some time.
Yeah, so you got to make the product better, and part of making it better is us knowing who the WNBA stars are. Most people do not know who A'ja Wilson is,
which is sad.
And there's a good chance that she's probably the greatest women's basketball player of all time. You can argue, right? She's probably gonna be top 5, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, but no one knows who she is.
Yeah.
So I'm with the WNBA saying, okay, this is the most popular we've ever been, right? We got maybe the greatest woman basketball player of all time, and maybe the future woman's greatest basketball player of all time. And we have a popular player that, likes to dress provocatively and go on the internet, right? So it's like, yes, back out of your collective bargaining, see if you can get more, but the product loses money. It's not the greatest product.
It loses $40 million. It ain't losing money. I lose money.
Look at what the reason why we are invested in NCAA basketball is, again, right, it's that longevity, right? Like, I am a Gamecock fan. So when the Lady Gamecocks are good, man, we are tuning in, right?
Absolutely. As you owe me money. I need to state that. Run me my ticket. Last thing before we get up out of here. NBA players, y'all have to stop talking trash about Bronny. It's hot mics everywhere. I don't know why y'all haven't got this. I think it's weird. I do think it's kind of like, all right, we do talk trash. We are whatever. Devin Booker, you can't deal with the wrath of LeBron James on and off the court because you want to talk about his son and nepotism. We know what it is, bro. It's cool.
They gonna fuck around and make LeBron play out of his mind this season talking about his kid.
Yeah, I just think it's weird. Jaylen Brown, you talking. Y'all gotta relax. And I do understand it probably is tough for all of y'all to see somebody who all of y'all had to bust y'all ass to get to where he is. But we gotta understand this is greater than the sport. It's greater than y'all.
And not only that, though, I mean, NBA players are being a little bit disingenuous because it is politics in the NBA, and most of the guys that are in the NBA is because y'all played for a club team that all the scouts watch, or you went to a college that has a funnel into the NBA. Or, the general managers knew like a coach or an assistant coach that was at a school that you coached at. That is why the vast majority of y'all end up in the league, right?
Facts.
So don't sit here and be like, it's all talent everywhere. No, most of y'all get caught up in club ball about 10, 11, 12 years old, and those club ball teams funnel those guys straight to the NBA. So it's not a meritocracy the way that y'all acting like. It is just as much nepotism as Bronny James Hell, the school that Bronny played at is a funnel into colleges, into the NBA.
Facts.
So,
facts. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
What you got planned this weekend?
Hey man, working on our pod, man. Working on the pod merch. Hey, blowing up, man.
Blowing up. I'm gonna say this. I want to shout out to my baby. We will be celebrating 6 years this weekend.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I love you. I hope you didn't listen this far in the pod, but you should. Somebody send this to us.
Skip to the end.
Absolutely, man. With that, we're gonna holler at y'all next time.
Holla at your boy.